Hi again everyone, Kuro here, back with another video, and in this one I wanted to go over all of the different types of fursuits. There are a lot of different suits and styles within the fandom, and there aren't really many good places that explain all of the differences all in one single place. So I am making this video the in-depth guide for fursuits. So let's first talk about the different levels and degrees of fursuiting. And by that I mean you can have as much as a full fursuit to as little as a head. Though some people may argue that you still need tails and paws to have it be considered a fursuit, but I personally don't think so. I think that's pretty gatekeepy. So let's go from the least to the most covered fursuits. So at the very minimum, you're gonna need a head in order to fursuit. You can have your hands and skin exposed if you want, or you can wear something like a kigu with this. It really is going to depend on what you want to do for your own personal tastes and your own comfort level. This would probably be the bare minimum in my personal opinion of what you need in order to fursuit. The second level would be a head and a pair of paws. This wouldn't be considered a partial because there is no tail, but at least your hands aren't exposed and you can wear something like long sleeves or a kigu in order to kind of complete the look of your fursuit. The next level would be a mini partial, and this usually includes a head, hands, and a tail. It is one of the more popular options, especially with younger furs or those that don't want to overheat, those that have a tight budget, because this is the cheaper option, as fursuits are handcrafted art items and can get pretty pricey the more in-depth you go with your suits. Not to mention it is also much easier to travel with a partial than it is with a full fursuit. The next option would just be a standard partial. This is probably, in my own personal experience, what I've seen to be the most popular option because it has the most customizability as well as affordability, and travel-wise it's easiest to do. This will include head, hands, feet, and a tail. The size of the feet is dependent on the individual's personal tastes. Size of the tail is up to the owner of the suit as well, but this is definitely the most popular option because you can wear street clothes with it, or you could wear a kigu, or you could wear a cosplay with it. So this is an amazing option and highly recommend it. Next up on the list would be what I consider a deluxe partial or a upgraded partial, or whatever you want to call it. And this is different than a 3/4 partial, and I'll explain why soon. But usually I like to think of this partial as something that contains arm sleeves or leg sleeves, but not fully. So they go up to the elbow, so they're like very long hand paws, or the leg sleeves go up to like just above the knee or something like that, where you could still wear shorts or pants or something and still have the fur poke through. So it is a little bit more coverage than a standard partial, but not so much as a 3/4 partial, which is the next level of fursuiting. And 3/4 partials usually have half of the bodysuit. So either a full set of legs, whether they're like digigrade legs or just straight planigrade legs, or some other type of padding. You don't necessarily need to wear shorts with these legs, as they go up all the way to the hips or above the belly button, or whatever your personal coverage preference is. Or if you don't want to do the leg option, you almost have a full fur shirt in a sense. This is popular amongst fursuit wearers that want to have muscle padding or a belly or something like that, where you could wear pants and under your pants are just your regular body, so it's like considered street clothes, but then you can tuck in the fur shirt into your pants to make it look like you're going topless. Especially with muscle fursuiters, you would have your six-pack abs and your massive biceps.
Hell yeah.
Exposed. And that is what I would consider a 3/4 partial. So much more than just a set of arm sleeves or leg sleeves like in the upgraded partial. Now we are going to move on to full fursuits. And the first step into full fursuiting is plantigrade suits, or also known as the straight-legged fursuit. This is the easiest full suit to wear and the easiest to travel with because there is usually minimal or no padding at all whatsoever, and it can be folded just like a regular set of clothing, and probably the bulkiest item of the full suit will still be your head. You will have the easiest time wearing a plantigrade full suit because there is no padding to keep you insulated. You will be less likely to overheat. It is the cheapest option of full suits when it comes to your budget as well. Typically, I see plantigrade full suits start at $2,500 and then go up from there, depending on the maker that you choose. The next level of full fursuits will be the digigrade, and I'm going to lump other padded suits into the same section. Any full suit that gives you the illusion of a different body shape or a different body type. These are extremely warm and can be very difficult to wear and walk and move around in, and especially travel. But they do offer some of the coolest looks and the coolest styles in my personal opinion. I am a little bit more experienced when it comes to wearing fursuits, so I almost always opt for a digigrade look, but I do get very warm when I wear them, so it is highly recommended that you buy a cooling pack or some fans, or you take regular breaks so that you don't get heat stroke or hurt yourself. Some subsets of digigrade suits would be plushy suits, which aren't giving the illusion necessarily of standing on your tiptoes with the bent leg style, but instead are trying to make you look like a big giant stuffed animal. These suits tend to have hand paws that don't really have separate fingers, and you are basically running around with little nubs for hands. So wearing these is definitely way more cumbersome than a digigrade suit, and it is highly recommended you have a handler when wearing a plushy suit, but they would be another style of padded suit that gives a different illusion of your body shape than what you might normally have. As I had mentioned previously, muscle suits would also be within this category. They could also be digigrade as well, but the main difference between muscle suits and just a regular digigrade suit is there is additional foam or polyfill padding to give you the illusion that you have massive biceps, ripped six-pack abs, massive pecs, teardrop quads, anything that like a bodybuilder would have, these suits would have on them. Massive back. The most noteworthy one that I know of is this tiger right here. There are a couple others that are running around. I think a popular maker for a while that made these suits was Art Slave. Don't know if they still make suits, but I remember them back in the day making these, and that was where I found out about them. But there are plenty of other makers that will make them. I have the skill set to make them. I have never made one for someone, but I can do it. Some other noteworthy shapes would be suits that have massive bellies, more feminine shapes, like enlarged breasts, enlarged hips, big booty. Really, it depends, and there are all sorts of different types of shapes of suits. I have even seen some makers make it so you look like you're bent over slightly like a raptor or a dinosaur. So not fully a digigrade suit and not fully like my next style of suit, which is a quad suit. Quad suits are probably the most cumbersome and most difficult to wear. They are probably the least popular and least seen suit, but not because they are ugly. They are actually insanely cool. But quad suits, by nature, you are on all fours. So you're on your feet and you're on your hands. So as a result, you are going to need a handler almost 24/7 in suit, as well as someone to help you get in and out of the costume. So you could potentially require 2 to 3, possibly even more assistants to help you get into this costume. Quad suits are by far the hardest to wear for extended periods of time. They are, however, the most realistic to animals, and due to the intensity and complexity of wearing and making these are probably the least common suits. But the most noteworthy maker, at least that I know of, that makes these is Beast Cub. So those are the main levels and degrees of fursuiting, but there are also even more styles of fursuiting. So I do want to explain all of the different styles, and the first one I want to talk about is LARP, or Use Your Own Eye fursuits. These sit extremely close to the head and can be both realistic or Toony style, depending on what the person wants. The main noteworthy thing about these styles is it is a very slim fit, almost skin tight. The actual LARP heads sit very close to the face, like super close, because you are using your own eyes. And they, most noteworthy, have a very, very small muzzle due to how slim they are. Oftentimes, LARPers or costumers that use your own eye heads will paint eye makeup around their eyes to help blend in with whatever color their mask is. So if it is a brown colored fox, they'll paint around their eyes brown to help their own eyes blend in. And this can create a really cool look because obviously your eyes are dynamic and they will move around, so they will be moving in real time without the use of animatronics or anything like that. The next style would be chibi style, which it's difficult to explain because there's a couple different renditions of what chibi style would be, and I don't even know if this is the proper name to give it, but I have definitely seen this style before. It is a mix between the LARP or Use Your Own Eye style and the Kimono style. There could be large, lifelike eyes with a short muzzle. You could use your own eyes with a short muzzle, with an exaggerated smile, or exaggerated colors, but the mask is very slim, and the bodysuit is slim or extremely padded like a kimono style. It's really hard to explain, and there are probably a dozen more styles that might fit into this that I'm not describing well, so hopefully the examples on screen give you a better sense of what I'm trying to say, and you can just see the examples to kind of form your own thought on what I mean exactly. Segueing into that would be the style of suits that I make most often and are my own personal favorite, kimono style. And these are anime and Japanese inspired fursuits. And the most notable thing about kimono style fursuits is they have very big eyes, often with a glassy effect done by acrylic plastic or almost a gloss-like effect. They have a very small nose and mouth. Pretty much think of like a button nose on a teddy bear, and that's about the size of a nose on a kimono style suit. The mouths are pretty much non-existent or extremely small, as you can see in my own personal suit, and they most often will be accompanied with heavily padded suits or digigrade suits depending on your preference and style. These originally were popularized by K-line suits in Japan and have kind of gained traction and popularity all around the world. So a few years ago, it was probably incredibly hard to find a maker that was in America or any of the European countries, as most makers were either based in Japan or China. Now it is definitely gaining traction and growing in popularity, so if this is your style of suit that you like, there are probably a lot more makers now that might be able to create what you want. I myself am an American maker, so anyone within North America might find that my style would suit them best. Along those lines are Toony style suits, and Toony style suits really can be just an umbrella term of anything that has more unrealistic proportions and colors than that of a naturally occurring animal. For example, you could make a fox with blue fur and giant massive claws with wings on its back and like 12 tails. It is hard to explain exactly because there is so much open to interpretation with Toony. It is the most widely known style, and it is the most outsider friendly due to just how cute and approachable the styles are. Oftentimes, there are large eyes associated with Toony suits, large noses, really exaggerated smile, big cheeks, big eyebrows, big ears, and pretty much the customizability and the ideas for these types of suits are endless. This is probably the first style of suit you saw when you stumbled upon the furry fandom, because it is the most popular and the most well-known, and I believe most fursuit makers will at least offer this, if not solely only practice and make Toony style suits. The next style would be a little bit of a hybrid style that I like to call semi-realistic. It is a mix between Toony and Realism, so it might be a realistic suit proportion or features with either big exaggerated Toony eyes or unrealistic colors that won't occur naturally in the wild. Again, a realistically proportioned tiger, but instead the tiger is hot pink with blue stripes. You know, it would be something like that. It could also be something else, like a hybrid species, but it has very realistic proportions, very realistic styling, realistic glass eyes, realistic taxidermy style mouth. A good example would be a realistic dragon. Obviously, dragons don't exist, so I would call that semi-realism because it is a fantasy hybrid species, but with taxidermy-like quality. And the final style would be realism suits. As mentioned, these suits would be taxidermy-like quality. They are the most like real-life animals. They keep realistic animal proportions. They might include glass taxidermy style eyes or resin eyes. They will have taxidermy quality teeth, most likely proportionate to the real-life animal's jaw and makeup, and the proportions will be that of what a real-life animal would be, just stuck on your head. Most often you will see realistic heads made on resin bases, or now with the popularity of 3D printing, 3D printed bases. I have seen a few makers use foam bases, but it is incredibly rare, as foam is definitely much better for Toony and unrealistic proportions, as I feel it is very, very hard to make a proper realistic head using foam. If you do it using foam, good on you. You are much better at it than me. This is a style I do not specialize in. I do not like making realistic quality suits. I am in awe of them. I love them, but I just personally can't make them. It's not my style, not my thing. I feel realistic suits definitely have a following. There are definitely a significant number of them within the fandom, but they are a little bit more niche just because of how realistic they are. They can scare young children, or they could be seen as extremely weird to outsiders, but it really depends on the people you interact with. It might excite some people. It really depends. But those are the main styles of suits. There are a few others that I'm probably missing. You know, if I did miss one, definitely let me know in the comments and I can always add it in another video. Hey guys, Future Kuro here, and I just wanted to cut in and also mention a few other types of fursuit styles that I forgot to mention when I originally recorded this. And the first one I wanted to talk about is skull dogs, which are exactly as they are described. It is a skull mask with fur on the hood, fur on the ears, or it is literally just the skull mask. It depends on how they are made. But this is another type of style, and there is also another style that is extremely popular with younger furs and Gen Z furs, and is huge on TikTok right now, and that's dino masks. And these are pretty much these plastic masks that can be bought at Walmart, Target, Amazon, all sorts of different places, in person or online. And a lot of artists have repainted them, added fur, added horns, all sorts of different things to make them their own and unique. A lot of young furs that are still minors and might not have money or a way to get a fursuit use and wear these. So just wanted to cut in there with two other styles that I think are big enough and have enough notoriety that they are worth
worth mentioning here.
But before I get on to the different expressions of heads, I do want to jump in here and say, if you have found this video informative, if you are thinking about trying to get a suit of your own and you have found this very helpful in helping you determine what you want and what you might not want, definitely please consider liking and subscribing to my channel, as it really does help me and it lets me know that the videos that I'm putting out are helpful, they're informative, and that they're something that people like. Anyways, expressions can be as limitless as all the different styles of suits. And I wanted to go over some of the most popular expressions. These can pretty much be done in any style of suit, even realistic. There's probably a little bit more limitations with realistic, but again, I'm not a maker of realistic suits, so I don't know. But the first one I wanted to go over was grumpy style suits. And these often have slanted eyes pointed forward and usually have a lot of teeth showing. There might be a snarl look. The suit might have its fur bristled. Usually this will be accompanied by very harsh lines and almost looks like it is constantly glaring at you. Another expression style could be sleepy. And this one is a little bit difficult to pull off without making it look too sad, which is another style that I'll mention here in a second. Usually these eyes look like they're drooping and they're half shut. It may be accompanied by almost like a blushing effect on the head, might have a half smile. There are different ways that you can make your suit look sleepy without making it look too sad. And speaking of sad, that is another possible expression that you could make for your suit. As a permanent expression, I have never seen a suit just fully commit to the sad look. Doesn't mean it doesn't exist, but usually some people will use magnetic or interchangeable eyebrows to make their suit look sad. Usually this will be accompanied by a droopy eyelid rather than just completely halfway. It will be sort of slanted, going like backwards. Hard to describe, but look at the examples on the screen, you know what I mean. And the most popular and standard style of expression, I guess I would call, is the happy or the gleeful expression. Pretty much comes standard on all Toony, Kimono style suits. Wide eyes usually, or eyebrows raised up more than normal. Can be accompanied with a wide smile, sometimes showing teeth. But this is the standard style of expression seen in almost every single suit. Again, a lot of makers will implement the idea of using interchangeable eyebrows, magnetic eyelids, all sorts of different things to help change the expression so you can have a wide range of emotions that you show on your suit. But what is your favorite style of suit or your favorite expression? Do you have an idea of a suit that you are thinking of getting on your own? I really hope that this in-depth guide helped you decide one way or the other if you are on the fence. Or if you already have your heart set on something, I hope that it reaffirmed your thoughts on your suit. And if you just wanted to know more about fursuits, I hope this was really informative. And hey, please, if you liked this video and found it helpful, be sure to like and subscribe, as it really helps me out and helps get this video out to others that might need it. But that is all for now, guys. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I am Kuro from Kemono Dungeon. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you next week in the next video. Bye!